Let's talk about this upcoming bullshit rewrite of history. If you didn't know, this is Viola Davis's new...
Okay, I want to start with the whole historical inaccuracy because every Hollywood movie on any historic white figure is always inaccurate. And I think a good example would be Churchill. Churchill is portrayed as this amazing man who was great, who was loving. The man was insane. The man was barbaric. He was a monster. Go look at what the Bengal famine. And that will tell you everything. And also, America is the same nation that celebrates serial killers. You have Ted Bundy fans. You have Jeffrey Dahmer fans. And these are literal girls that were writing letters to him and stuff. Like, how? And also, this thing about cannibalism and barbaric, America has such a bad history. Look, America, how it started. You wiped off the Indians. And the worst thing was, you didn't just wipe them, you manipulated them and then killed them. You gave them a disease. And then what you did to the slaves when you went over to Africa and bought the slaves. Okay, slavery was always a thing back then, by the way. And like, people would buy slaves. Europeans went to Africa, they bought some slaves. But when they took them back to America, what they did to them is beyond. There's a book called 1,000 Years of Lynching, and it shows how slaves were killed, how they were like tortured. And there was one method where they hanged a pregnant woman by a tree, cut into her stomach, pulled the unborn baby out just to scare the other slaves into doing work. There were mass farms in America during slavery that were black slave women tied up and forced to be impregnated by the slave men, just so they can keep giving birth to keep producing more slaves. And the little babies were used as alligator bait. So let's not talk about how barbaric history is and stuff. And also, this was one of the tribes that when they found out how the Europeans were treating the slaves that they sold, they went to go fight and get those slaves back. And also, you talk about how this tribe carried on with slavery. Yeah, Britain and America never just gave up slavery because they were righteous people. Black people had to fight for that. And Britain paid slave owners. Up until 2015, the entire UK had to, literally paid off slave owners. And David Cameron's family profited off slave ownership. So we talk about all this history and stuff. Your history is so much darker. Britain and America's history is the darkest in the world. Look at the amount of army bases around the world by the US. Go look at what happened in the Vietnam War. That you had no right to be in that country. Okay, so there's just so much historical inaccuracy from your end. There's just so much manipulation and darkness that I just don't get how whenever black people are breaking barriers, they have a movie that's celebrating them, you'll just find a reason why. Okay, and when you find the truth, it hurts and scares you. Go read about what Britain did in South Asia. The rape and murder of innocent women and children. It's just one of those things that you guys can't comprehend, but we know the truth. Okay, you feel like you're running, now you know how we feel.